Hello everyone. Today, welcome to the first Student Shop webinar from starting to selling, creating desirable products. It's going to be about an hour long. Just start it in 2 minutes. To get things started, just going to go ahead and leave this on the screen. Just let me know in the YouTube chat. Um, just about who you are and about your business experience. Have you done business at A level, GCSE? If it's just a passing interest, something you want to get into, anything like that. And I'll leave this on there and give everyone about 2 minutes before we start. Alright, let's get started. First things first, I'll just give an overview of the whole presentation, the key points you can expect. The first and main part of the presentation is just a general business overview, the main focus of the presentation, the creating the desirable products, and then the last bullet point on there, just how Student Shop works, how it can help you, and just talking about how it relates to everything that we're going to be discussing today. And before we carry on, just a couple of brief points, a bit of a disclaimer before we go on with the rest of the presentation. So this is just my experience from creating my own companies, including Student Shop, and the information on Student Shop's role in the whole process and how it can help you as a student. I'm not a trained educator. I don't have a teaching degree or anything like that. But I have my experience, and that's what I'm sharing with you today. As I briefly explained on the last slide, the first part of the webinar is a general overview. Can be applied to any business, any situation. It's more tailored to someone younger, someone in school or college, and helping in those situations. The second part of the presentation applies specifically to Student Shop, which is currently only at Longroad Sixth Form College in Cambridge. It only really applies to those students at Longroad, although it can be used in other senses, and hopefully it generates an interest in Student Shop in other schools and colleges around the UK. Any questions you have, leave in the comments, and we'll answer them at the end of the presentation. Have a question time where we can look through the comments, and I can answer any questions people have specifically. They can be about anything related to this. It can be about the business portion, about creating the desirable products, or even anything about Student Shop, although there's a variety of information about Student Shop you can have a look at. The live stream will be available after this, immediately after, on the YouTube channel, and the presentation will be available on the website. Just if you want to have access to the presentation on its own and look through it at your own pace without me talking over it. Right, and without any further ado, we will go straight in and look at the first stage from our overview, choosing your product. It's an important place to start. Obviously, choosing your product is the almost the most drawn out, but the best place to start, I feel, when you're at such an early stage in both your life and your careers and things like that. Starting with the product first makes the process a bit easier at this small stage. So a few questions there, sort of prompts to help you think about what you might do, what your product might be. If you have any existing ideas, I often find myself coming up with little products every now and then, little ideas. You can turn those immediately into products. If they're small, if they're sellable, they'll be easy to turn into a product and sell to people. Hobbies and ideas, the hobbies and interests are a great way to come up with products. Everyone has a hobby, everyone has something they're directly interested in, and every hobby has most hobbies have an end product, but all hobbies have something that go towards it, whether it's creating something at the end, or it's something to use to make the hobby or to carry out the hobby. Those are generally desirable places to start looking for products, because everyone has their hobbies. People that want to do those hobbies will want the materials to do those hobbies. Selling those things makes them desirable. If you specifically have an interest in a specific area or specific product, I know a lot of people in college and school were interested in trainers, different trainers from different big brands, selling those on. If you have a distinct interest in those items, it gives you a bit of an upper hand, because you already have the knowledge, you know what you're buying, and therefore you know what to buy and to sell on to other people. That gives you a distinct advantage in selling. Also, because you already like the product, you know it's desirable because you desire that product. That is something you already look for. It can be as simple as things inside your house. If you want to sell something, you've got old clothes, you've got things that were handed down to you, things that you just need to sell because you need space, maybe old furniture, things like that. Anything inside your house, it's already in your house, it's made its way into your life. Those are the things that other people are going to want as well, for the exact same reason. That's what makes them desirable. They are household products. Everyone buys stuff for their house, or just things that go in their house. So those are the ones that are going to be desirable. Even if you don't specifically find something, the things above, if you don't have any of those, if you're looking through that list and going, that doesn't apply, it's okay. There are still ways of finding things that are easy to sell. Again, going back to the hobbies point, it's a good place to start. If you don't have any interest, if you don't have any hobbies of your own, looking at other popular hobbies is a good way to do it. A lot of things popular on TikTok these days, like crocheting, things like that, are a good way to start. Everyone needs the resources to start it. It produces an end product. Both the end products and the resources are desirable products. They're what people want. People want to do the hobby. People want to purchase the end result of the hobby. Either of those, they can be a good start. And it's just thinking those little easy steps, just moving it over in your brain, just thinking, what can I sell that people will want? And that is a good place to start with it. Now, even if you just have an idea, if you do art at college, if you do design, a creative subject, something like that, and you think, well, I do these, I like these, I can make something out of this, I just don't know how to sell. Art on its own can be very difficult to sell. Look online, look in local stores, things like that. Try and find products that already exist that you think could benefit from maybe your art, or that already have art on them that you could easily substitute art on. So just off the top of my head, something like a notebook. Say we create this notebook that we're gonna sell, and all the ones you've seen in your local stores are boring. They've just got a plain color on the front. They come in different colors. Well, you want to put your art specifically on a notebook. That is your product. That then turns into your product, and that is unique about you because it uses one of your hobbies and your interests. It uses demand because you know that your local stores are already supplying notebooks, and it makes a product unique that is already existent. So that's already starting to create a little bit of a USP for your product there. And that will make it desirable. Having yours be unique but already a product someone wants, that will make it desirable in the first place, but then also more desirable because you're adding your own unique touch to it. Can you make it yourself is a very important point when thinking about a product. Like if you have the resources to do things yourself, it's almost certainly the cheapest way of doing it. If it's easier to make something yourself than it is to buy it online, always do it. So if you take this notebook, maybe you buy paper online, you buy a bit of a harder front cover material, like a thicker bit of paper. You could make your get some staples. You could staple that book together, make your own notebooks, and then that's something that almost turns into a hobby in itself. That you spend that time, you make these notebooks, you put your work and effort into them, and making them unique. And if you're making them yourself, no one will be exactly the same. That's an area that people like. The unique sort of homemade aesthetic is very, very popular, and actually that it creates quite desirable products. You need to make sure when you're thinking about your product, if you've got an art piece that you're trying to put on a product, that it doesn't cost too much to put on an item. If you've got your art piece and you think, wow, this would look really good on the side of a car, it might be difficult to pay for a car while you're at college or at school. So, thinking smaller, thinking affordable, something you can sell in large quantities and that you can either make in large quantities or buy in a good enough quantity that you're not buying one at a time and selling out straight away. Those are the kind of things that are desirable and that you should look for when creating your products. So now you have a product, we're going to find its market. And although this step can come before, and in a broader business sense, for larger businesses, they would be looking to find the market for a product, or find the market before they find the product, and that's called finding the gap in the market. If you notice that there is a specific type of, we use the notebook idea again. If there's a specific type of notebook that's missing from your local store, or missing from a big chain, even better, and you create that product that fits within that gap, you already have your market, and it's a little bit easier to create the product because you create the product using any of the gaps that you see. But for this case, and actually while you're smaller, while you're at college, you don't want to be spending the time and resources it takes to find a gap in a market. So doing the market after the product is a good way of going about it, so that it takes less time, it takes less money, and it gets you going a little bit quicker. And while you're thinking about your market, you want to think about who wants your products. Why would someone buy your product? What makes it so great? Who are the people that are going to be purchasing it? If there is that gap in the market, say you build this product and go, well, it does fit on this shelf next to the other notebooks because it is maybe bigger. It's the bigger notebook. It's the biggest notebook that's available in this store. Maybe look at it and go, well, do people actually want a big notebook, or are people looking for a small notebook? Those are the kind of things you've got to think about. You've got to understand why there are gaps, and who might want this. And if it's already similar to products, then you need to understand why it's different, and all the reasons that it is different can completely change what market it's part of. If you're making the best example I can think of is playing cards. If you're making playing cards with a really, really small details or lettering or numbers on them, those would probably be less suited to an older audience than large playing cards with larger typeface on them. So, each little difference, even down to the size of text or assets within your product, can change entirely who the market is. So make sure you're really thinking, what are the different factors of my product, and who does that appeal to? Because ultimately those are the people you're trying to market your product to. Those are the ones you're going to be selling to. Another really important thing to think about, and a good question to ask yourself every time you want to understand your market, is, would you use the product? And if you would, think about why. If you wouldn't, think about why not. Maybe create a pro-con list, or maybe a chart to show yourself why you would or why you wouldn't, and what makes the product so good if you would use it, and what makes it good for other people if you wouldn't use it. Like, what are the benefits to the people that aren't you? And it's really good if it is a product you would use, because then you know exactly who it is you're marketing to. You're marketing to yourself for a start, and if you market a product towards yourself, you are always going to get the people similar to you who will enjoy the product and who will use the product in the same way you do. And that really narrows down your market, makes it a lot easier for you to sell. The best way to find out about your market is to do research. Market research is a very important part of the market, finding your market and understanding your product as a whole. The two types of research, if you've done business before, you will already have an understanding of research and what types of research there are. For those who don't, things like primary research or field research, where you go out, you're asking people, you're doing surveys, you're interviewing people. You could do a product demonstration, like every year when the new iPhone comes out, they show it to you on stage. They show you what it's like. And then afterwards, they'll probably collect your thoughts, your opinions, and they'll take that data and they'll use that to adapt. They'll either adapt the product or change their marketing strategy to market it at specific people. And one that I think is really important is observation. Observing people around you. If you're making a notebook, go to a park or a busy place and look, see if there are people writing things down, see if there's people sketching, doing art, things like that. If people are noting things down, take note of what type of notebook they're using. Are they using a bit like an A4 notebook? Are they using a little A7 notebook? Think about the size, the dimensions. Is it maybe a journal or a year planner, things like that? Is it a contact book? Try and think of the little minute details and look at the habits of a product, of people already using a product, to try and narrow down the market for yours. Secondary research or desk research is good to do, and it's the easiest and cheapest to do. It's just online research. Research that's already been done for you. So going online, if you look at, using our notebook example, who uses A5 notebooks, and just usually some information will come up. You can find maybe some buyers groups, or look on Amazon, see reviews for products. You can kind of get an idea for the kind of person buying a product from things like reviews. But you can also use observations again. Just this time in a different sense. If you see other businesses doing it, try and look at their marketing, look at who they're marketing to. They will then, from that, you'll be able to then figure out maybe your market based off their market. Yeah, if a product already exists, the research probably exists too. So make sure to check other places before you do your own research. It'll save you a bit of time, maybe some money, but it's always good to do your own, just in case it's old research, the research maybe wasn't as good, maybe your product differs to them in a way that you didn't realize. It's always good to do your own research. So now we found your market, we want to start making the product. It's important to note here that depending on what the product is, the production of the product vastly changes. Each product can have however many different steps. It can have so many different areas of the supply chain, and you could be a middleman in a supply chain. If you're making clay kitchenware, you're making mugs, plates, things like that, you might buy the clay from a local hobby store, an online retailer, someone like that, and that could be someone their business is selling the clay. But your business is making these clay kitchenware. You mold it yourself. You maybe do patterns or designs on them, but then you could be sending them off somewhere to get them hand painted, and fired in a kiln. That would make you almost a middleman. You could get a cut of the profits in that sense, or just a flat fee from selling off these pre-made clay items and having someone else paint or fire them as the end product. But equally, you could be doing something from home. Everyone has maybe flour, eggs, butter, things like that in their own home. If you're just making cakes out of things that you have in your home, that's a one-step production there. Like, you are getting things you already have, turning it into a product to sell immediately. But most commonly, you will probably be looking at buying something that already exists and adding your own flair to it. Like we talked about with the notebook earlier, if you buy a bunch of blank notebooks off the internet and you put a sticker over them, or you hand paint a design onto the front of them, or print onto them, and then you're selling that is half and half production, and that is probably the most common form of business. And it can also happen with drop shipping, which is very common as well. Drop shipping is where you send off a design to someone, they print it onto some of their products and sell those products for you, or you sell it for them. That is in a way half and half production, but it's easier for you in that sense. Some of these different production methods are more desirable than others. The little amount of steps you can do as possible is maybe more desirable for you as the person making the product, as it's quicker, maybe it's cheaper. If you already have the items at home, that can really get your costs low because you haven't spent anything to make them. That can make the product more desirable as well, because your end price will be a lot lower to represent the low costs you had in the first place. And how to get it. So the next step is distributing the product. So after you've made it, you need to distribute it. This also largely depends on the product itself. Obviously, if you're making a digital product, if you do graphic design like I do, your products will be sent via the internet, and that makes it a lot easier. if you're making, if you do DT or something at college, you're making large wooden furniture, that's going to be a lot harder to get to somewhere else than a digital design is. And you're going to have to think about how you're going to get that across, how it's going to A, get to the customer safely, and B, how it's going to get to them in a timely manner that's efficient and ensures that it arrives on time. And that is another step that can make a product desirable. If you're looking to deliver your product and you offer, say, Royal Mail delivery, or you offer a courier like DPD, DHL, any of the couriers like that. If you offer that as a service, people might be more comfortable using those services. They might be aware, oh, this is a big service. It's likely to turn up to me when it says at the specific time, and likely to turn up in the first place. That can create a sense of comfort with a customer. That might make your product more desirable. If you just tell them, well, I make this notebook and I hand deliver it to your door. I'll knock on your door. I'll then know your address. But you'll have this notebook that I've made. That might make the customer a little bit more uncomfortable. They might not be quite as happy with that as the delivery method, and that might make your product less desirable to buy from them. So you have to think about that as well as cost and the ease of doing those kind of things. It might be easier to deliver it to someone who's ordered it from around the corner, but it might make them feel more comfortable if it's delivered by mail. You should also think about the services available to you as a creator. Things like Amazon are really good if you sell books. You can give them a text form of the book in just a document, and they will be able to print those books for you. They'll be able to add covers and things like that for you. They'll be able to get them edited or delivered as ebooks. So that's if you're doing that kind of thing, they're a really good service to use that, and it makes it distribution as easy as possible. But if you're, say, making handcrafted jewelry, or you're making handcrafted items, places like Etsy, customers are expecting those handcrafted items, things that aren't mass produced, and it's probably a more desirable place to put your items. There's more people looking that are specifically in your market. Places like eBay are really good for one-off items, single sale pieces. They're just maybe harder to set up. Sometimes eBay can be quite expensive. They take a lot of their own fees. So you've got to think about these things in terms of your distribution, of how desirable the distribution method is to the customer, how easy it is for you as the creator to get it to a distributor or to distribute yourself, and how much cost there is involved with the different methods. Obviously, while you don't want to be spending so much money doing each thing, you don't want to be spending so much money on postage, each of these things creates their own desirability. If you see something for £10 with free postage, you're more likely to buy that than you are for something that's for £8 with £2 postage. You've got to think about the psychology behind it and how desirable things like free postage are to people. Or obviously you could use Student Shop, which I might be biased, but I would say is the best one. But we'll get to why it's so great later on. So now you have your product, and you know how to get it out there. We're going to start looking at marketing. Marketing is very important. A lot of companies, they make their money from their marketing. If no one knows about your product, you can never sell it. So as soon as you start selling your product, you need to let people know it's there, and you need to be letting the right people know it's there. If you're blanket marketing, if you've got your notebook and you're selling your notebook to people in your local town, say we'll use Cambridge as an example, you're selling to people just in Cambridge. If you just do an advertising campaign on Instagram that targets the whole of the UK, that's not going to work because Cambridge is such a small population of the UK that you'll be advertising to people who don't have access to your product or maybe even don't want your product. So you need to make sure that you're targeting right and that you're at least doing the marketing as the first two steps. When you come to do your marketing, the questions you should ask yourself, the middle block on the presentation, think about how you learn about new things. How do you learn about new products? Do you see a lot of your new a lot of the new products on Instagram? Are you seeing ads on buses or on TV? Things like that. How do you get your information? How do you learn about new products? Think about that for yourself, because those are the methods that we know work. Those are the methods that the big companies know that work. They make their money from doing it. Those are the ways that are likely to work for you as well. Another way of thinking about it is looking at how did you learn about this webinar? How did you come across it? We as Student Shop market our products, we market our service, and we market things like this webinar. So you can look at the ways we did that and use that for yourself. But importantly, you should be telling people why your product is so great. What makes it unique? What are its unique selling points? That's important. If you're just listing facts about your products, my painted notebook, for example, is it has 128 pages and it's got a cool design on the front, will not sell your product. Saying inside it comes with a variety of different page types. It might have dotted, it might have lined, it might have blank. Variety of page types that lets you get down any of your ideas. It lets you have the correct guidelines for any project. Helps you with your sketching. Maybe you have those the lines and the dotted line that help you with your handwriting, and you can say it's got that and it helps you improve your handwriting. Or maybe it has a ruler along the side of the page or a little calendar in it so you can help block out your days. Those are the things that are unique, that will sell your product on. They'll make them desirable for customers. They'll allow you to sell your product so much easier and market so much easier, because they are things that are inherently different, not that just define what the product is. With all marketing, quality over quantity is very important. If you're putting out 100 ads a day that are to the wrong people, they have little to no information, and they don't look engaging, it's just a black text on a white background saying that you sell a product, that's never going to beat one really nicely designed say social media marketing campaign. That it's never gonna beat that, because the what you get out of that one engaging post is far more than what you can get out of the quantity of 100, because you are targeting your audience and you are marketing to your audience that are able and willing to buy your product. You're letting them know why it's good. You're telling the people that want your product that it's available. For this, I would say social media is extremely important. Everyone's on social media. There are so many different platforms, Twitter, YouTube, like we're on right now, Instagram. They're all free tools that you can market to yourself, and they have their own paid counterparts that are really helpful, and they're so easy to get started with. You want to allow people to make it as easy as possible to buy your product from the ad. That is what the benefit of these new social media pages and their current updates give you. Like Instagram, we'll go back to that one again. It has the Instagram store page or Instagram shop pages where you can add your own shops on there, and then you can create create little pins for each product on each post. So like if we use this, the image that's in the bottom right of this slide, for example, this might as well be an Instagram post, and you would click on it and it would be an advert for the laptop. There could be a little just link straight there to go buy the laptop straight from either the Instagram shop or the seller's page. Those are the best and easiest ways to market your product and then link people straight to what you're selling. That's what you want to do. You want to make it as easy as possible for someone to be able to find your product and then go straight to where they can buy it. And that, in a sense, creates a desirability for the product in itself, because it's so easy to find out what is being sold. Say, for example, there's a clothing company. They have an ad that has a whole outfit on it, and they're only selling in that one post the top, the t-shirt, whatever the person is wearing. They're only selling that one item. You might want the second item, the trousers, the shoes, anything like that. If that's not advertised, that's not directly linked to, that will create customer dissatisfaction, because it's so hard to find what that one product is. You would have to go straight to their website, scour their website, and try and find exactly what you're looking for. Make it as easy as possible and engaging to ensure that people can find what they want and that they're willing to look at what you're showing them. And the best way to do this is with a call to action, CTA, at the end of all your posts and ads that pushes people directly to where you're going. That is, a call to action: buy now, shop now, come have a look at our store. Like direct commands, tell people what you want them to do, because that will always work. So, you're all set. You've started selling your product. You've marketed it out. What do you do next? Well, hopefully with each sale, you're making the money. And this whole section is about managing the money that you're making. You're making your profits. You've already looked at how much it costs. You already got in the money from how much from your selling price. It costs you, say, £2 to make one of these notebooks. You sell it for £5. You've got £3 profit on each notebook. That may be very tempting to just go, well, that £3 mine, that's gone straight into my bank account. Every time I sell a notebook, that's another £3. That may be so tempting, especially when you're young, you don't have a source of income, you don't have maybe a job, or if you do have a job, it probably doesn't pay very much. But you need to ensure that you're using your profits to improve what you've got. If you manage your profits well, you spread them out, and we'll go through this. So if you distribute all the people in your business, for a start, you've got to pay the people that are helping you. You've got to use it to cover any expenses. Say you took some money from a friend who, in advance, you wanted a few of your notebooks. He gave you a bit of money to start up, like an investment. You probably want to pay him back, or at least give him an amount of products worth that same amount back to him. That's gonna cover. That's where your profits should go to cover those two things up first. You have to pay the people that work for you or have worked with you, and you have to pay the people that you've created any debt with. Those are the first two. The next you should do is to scale up your production. Scaling up your production, or at least your sales, is really important. Say in your first batch you bought for this notebook, made it ourselves. You bought enough paper to make 10 notebooks, and you've got £3 of profit off each notebook. That extra profit you can use to buy more. So now this time you buy enough to make 200 notebooks, and your profit is doubling at the end of the process. Now, after the 200 you bought this time, you've used your extra profit to buy more, but now you've got £60 profit. You can scale up, and you can keep scaling up until you finally have a specific target, or you have enough that you can put some back into the company, but you can also pocket some for yourself. Most importantly, you need to expand and grow your business. Focus on the areas that are downfalls of your business. Businesses just wouldn't be able to grow if they didn't use their own profits, unless they had their own investment over time. But at a young age, you've got one product, you're doing one thing, you're doing this as a side hustle, as a little hobby that's just making you money. You don't have the capability to get large scale investments that you'd need to grow a business. Your profits, to grow and expand your company, your profit should be spent on upgrading the user experience. If you've got, maybe you're selling it at a friend's website, they have a website that's got loads of different products on it. Your product is somewhere down the bottom. It's not doing that great, but it's making you money. Use the profits you've gained, upgrade the user experience, make your own website, have your own web store, sell your product on there. That will allow you to ensure that your product always comes first, that the most people can see it, and it gives you a direct place for people to find you. It increases their user experience, it increases the product's desirability because it's easier to find for the customer. You should also be automating as many processes as possible. Say you're doing your notebooks, if you can get a machine that does the staples for you, or does more than one staple at a time, or a machine that prints your design onto the front and back of it. Maybe you automate that process or upgrade that process so that it's doing 4 or 5 notebooks in the same amount of time as you could do one. And similarly, improving your products or upscaling the production of your products. Briefly touched on it, doing 4 at once instead of just 1 is upscaling your production. But you can also improve your products, and you should adjust your price accordingly to this to ensure that you still maintain profits. But improving your product is always going to make you more money. It's going to make the product more desirable. If for our notebook example, you give it a hardback instead, you buy the thick card that you need, and maybe like a felt bound cover, so it's now a hardback, it's felt bound. You can sell it for more money. Maybe the cost hasn't gone up too much, which is always what you want. You get a bigger profit, the item itself is more desirable. That's exactly what you want. You're creating an even more desirable product. You're making it even more profitable. Carrying on as well, any areas that cost you time and money are almost a go-to for using your profits. Any production inefficiencies, like I spoke before, making 4 instead of 1. Machinery and equipment limitations, say the thing that is slowing you down is your equipment. You have a stapler, but your stapler is only doing 1 staple at a time. If you can get maybe a large, more industrial scale stapler that can do a whole notebook at a time, that would be using your profits to get rid of a machinery limitation. Maybe you need to hire someone, you need to find someone who is maybe a craftsman that can do this for you. If you're making wooden furniture and you want to start making chairs, but you don't know how to upholster chairs, find someone who can upholster chairs and pay them for it. Any skills deficiencies you have that could hold you back from making money are the things that you should invest your profits in first. Those are really key. They'll help you push your profits up higher. They'll even go to upgrading your product and potentially make it more desirable as well. Also, the last one on there, buying raw materials in small quantities. Using the bit we talked about before with the notebook. If you can buy 1,000 pieces of paper at 1 penny each instead of 100 pieces of paper at 10p each, it's going to mean that you can make more of your notebooks at a cheaper price. It will drive down the cost of producing each product, which will then drive up the profits of the product in the future. You just have to ensure that you're keeping your costs low, but you're keeping the quality of the product high as well. So you've done your profits, you've got to grow the business, and this is the last bit of the business portion, coming up into 40 minutes in. So growing your business. Once you successfully created profits for one product, doing it again is a lot easier. You will have learned doing the process from the first time round. You will then have what it takes to do that again for yourself. You won't have to come back. You won't have to watch this. You won't have to watch this webinar over and over again for each product. You'll already know. You'll be building up your own experience. You'll be growing yourself as a person, as an entrepreneur, and your business to allow for more products, which ultimately equals more profits. As long as all of your products are profitable, there's no reason not to have any more. If you do have a product that isn't profitable, you either need to get rid of that product, work on creating profit for it. So you need to maybe invest some of the profits from your other products to make sure that product can become profitable itself, and then you can move on to a new product. When customers buy your products, they will have a vested interest in the company. This won't happen for every customer. Some customers might just want what you're making, but some people will want to see your company grow. They'll want to see what new products you bring. Think like a music artist. People that maybe buy your CD, buy your album, they'll want your business to do well. They'll want you to do well as an artist. They'll want to see what else you can come up with. Eventually people will just get bored of hearing the same few songs over and over again. You've got to keep expanding and keep growing your business to ensure that your products stay desirable. It's very important, however, to make sure that you're managing your growth. It's all well and good adding more products and just more and more and more, and they're all profitable and they're really good. But while you're at school or you're at college, it's really important to focus on your education. If you're, skipping classes to make more of your notebooks, then you're going too far with it. You need to prioritize your education before the growth of your business. What you should be doing at this stage is setting the foundations for growth while you're in education. And then when you leave education, you maybe get a temporary job somewhere, or you advance in your career. Then you can start doing it on the side. Things get more manageable. You don't have to worry about exams and specific classes and things like that. You can allocate the time to do your business, and it allows you to manage your growth and ensure that your product can grow freely without interacting with the rest of your life and maybe taking over that, because that's especially what you don't want to do. Right, now we come on to the second portion, finally, the second portion of the webinar that we're talking about today, and that's how Student Shop can help you with everything that you've just learned about, everything I've just taught you in the previous section. Right. So what is Student Shop? For those of you that haven't heard of Student Shop before, it's an online marketplace that helps students sell things that they make or that they buy, anything that they have, helps them sell it to other students within schools and colleges in the UK, specifically at Longroad Sixth Form College in Cambridge at the moment. Right now, Student Shop is a website that you may have gone onto, you may have seen. It's where any information and updates are put on the info page. We have an online store which you can get to via the website. That's where you can sell your products. That's where we put all of the approved products onto the page. The collaboration notice board, it's something we haven't really talked about before, but it works exactly the same as the store, but instead of applying for a product to be put up there, you're applying for either a specific skills need. You could say you've got a project, but you need someone who is a photographer to help photograph your product to get it sold. You could advertise your need for a photographer on the notice board, and someone could look at it and accept your job on there. Equally, it works the other way around. If you are a photographer and you want to offer your skills, you can apply to put your skills on there, and then people coming to look will be able to look for a photographer, and they'll be able to accept you as a photographer, and you can help on any projects that are on there. That is a smaller part of the system, but it works just as well. Then there's the locker system within Longroad. That is the distribution method that Student Shop offers for students using its services. The YouTube channel where you are right now, which is where we put our informative content. It's where we put the tutorials on how to use Student Shop, the best way to make products, everything like that. And our learning platform, how you learn about learning about how to create desirable products. We'll be doing more content like this in the future. We'll be doing different content in the future that you can use. And then our social media, which is just more of the updates and information that we post on the website. What does Student Shop do? So this relates directly to what we've learnt today. Student Shop is, I see it as the kind of all-in-one package that helps you do everything that we've told you about today as a student at school or college directly. It helps you with your market. You have a huge market of people directly on your doorstep where you go every day except the weekends. A huge market immediately at your doorstep. There are several like-minded people that you can either advertise to broadly, and you can say, hey, I've got this thing, let's see who wants it. Or there are probably niche groups. There are maybe little hobby groups for each kind of hobby, groups for different demographics, different kinds of people, different genders, sections like that you will be able to market to much easier because they are directly there. They are around you every day. It helps make the distribution easy. Like I said, with the locker system, they are the lockers are there for use within the college. You have an item, you sell an item. I finally sold one of these notebooks. You go to your locker system, you put the item in there. The staff at your college will notify the buyer, or Student Shop will notify the buyer, and they can come and collect it in their own time. You can go about your day. There is no interaction between the buyer and the seller other than the finished product, so it makes it anonymous if you want it to be anonymous. It also makes it really easy for you to do next day delivery, which can be very desirable for customers. It makes your marketing cheap and easy too. We have ways of marketing We have marketing packages that are cheap for students, but there's also the free marketing aspect you get with all of the products being on one store page. It doesn't matter what product it is, they all go to the same place. People can filter down, they can search, things like that. Say if there's 5 different people selling things like headphones at a college, that's a very during our research, that was a very common thing people wanted to look for. Electronics, phone chargers, headphones are very desirable products for specifically Long Road. So you've got 5 different ones on there. People search and they can look at just the headphones that are available around them. Say yours are really good, they're a good price, they're really durable. They will stand out. It's free and easy marketing, and maybe someone's just browsing the whole store page. They scroll past your headphones, they think they look good, and they buy them anyway. It's that free marketing that you get lost in when there's every product on Amazon, for example, on there. You just don't get the same small targeted community that you would get from a specific college or school. It also allows for quick and easy growth. Like I said, growth was very important. It's difficult to manage properly. Using Student Shop allows you to, create one product, make it successful, move on to the next one. We'll also try and make sure that if you are creating products that you're not creating too many and that you can't keep up with the demand. We can always help you by limiting the amount of products available at any one time to ensure that you're not working yourself too hard. Really ensure that you can continue with your education. But most importantly, it gives you the skills and the foundations for creating your own business. It'll give you the knowledge of using these platforms that you can then take on with you for the rest of your life. You can use that to become an entrepreneur if you want. You already know how to apply the skills, the knowledge, the sales, the customer service, things like that. You'll be able to take those with you wherever you go. If you then move on to Amazon or eBay or anything like that, it'll all be very similar, and you'll be able to use that anywhere. We really at Student Shop, we really want to make selling at school or college as easy as possible while being affordable. It's free to use Student Shop, so it's as affordable as it can be, and we will only make it cheaper the more people that use the service in the future. So we really are passionate about making it easy to do that for you. And if that sounds great to you, if you love that as an idea, how to start. All the information's on our website. You can go over to the website. There's a link there. There's also videos like this that can help you. There will be videos in the future, specifically how do I start a product. There'll be ones in Long Road we'll be making where we show the whole process, specifically how to get a product out there, what it'll look like on the store page, what information you get, and how it works. But in the meantime, filling out an application for your product and emailing it to us. As soon as it's approved by Student Shop and by your college, it will be added to the website, and every time you make a sale, we'll notify you and inform you how to use the locker system so that you can quickly deliver that project to ensure that you are doing the best you can and that your products are getting out as quickly as possible. Once the buyer has picked up the item, you'll get your profit, and you'll be able to carry on, and you'll be able to grow your businesses the way I detailed before. It's that easy. A few announcements I want to make as part of this webinar. Just a few of the initiatives we're trying to do to help boost Student Shop, help increase how effective it is for students, how helpful it is for students. We want to add a suggestion box to our website that will be coming hopefully within the next week or by the end of this week, where you can leave any ideas We really want this to be made for students by students. I'm a former student of Long Road Sixth Form College. I want to make it as good as possible at Long Road so that we can take it everywhere else. A suggestion box will be on the website. It will link you directly to a survey where you can add your suggestion. You can choose to say that you do or don't want any credit. If you don't want to be credited, that's fine. And then you can have your name on there if you want as well, just so we're helping everyone out in our little community as well. A line of Student Shop stationery will be launching at Long Road in the future as well. We want this to be things like pens, pencils, the notebooks I've been speaking about for the whole webinar. Not with any fancy designs on it, unfortunately. Just a Student Shop logo, maybe for now. We want them to be cheap and affordable. Make sure that everyone has access to them. We will try and do our best to make them cost as little as we can. With that, we'll be looking for, there's a potential for a student ambassador to Student Shop who will help do the distribution process specifically for those items, and there's the opportunity to be paid for that as well. Next is the Small Business Award, Student Shop's Small Business Award. At the end of each academic year, we'll be offering a cash prize to the best performing and most creative products on our website. There'll be more details on the cash prize and what defines each of those categories later on, but look out for those, get your entries in. For the first year we'll be doing it, which will start at the end of at the beginning of the next academic year and end at the end of the next academic year. We will take entries for this academic year as well as next year as well. It'll be a bit of a bigger pool, but it gives people more chance, more time to build up their products, get them on the site, and get winning the cash prize. The next step, we want two student help initiatives. We're going to be having small help packages available to students to help you start your businesses, specifically on Student Shop, giving you help with the paid advertising, so giving you free versions of our paid advertising, as well as getting rid of the Student Shop commission on your the first few products you sell on our site, to make it just a little bit easier, to give you a taste of what it's like to use the Student Shop system, get you used to the system, and then you can use it properly. It'll help you get out there a little bit. The second one we're going to be doing as well is the product building workshop. So we'll be doing workshops within Long Road Sixth Form College to help students that want to start from the ground up. We can be going through the process that I've outlined today more in depth. I can help with specific cases, and I can even help with people that are struggling to sell their product or are struggling to think of what else to do with their product that already exists. That will be available as well. The last thing I want to mention today is the Student Shop Giving Back Fund, which is Student Shop's way of giving back to the colleges that have allowed us to help you guys, help the students. We want to help them by improving your lives as much as we can in college. Students and the college itself will be voting on new projects, and those projects will be funded by donations from Student Shop, and they will appear within your college. Say you want new benches, or you want to improve, you want to have one, like a big bake sale or something, or a big event in the college. Those are the kind of things that, if the college approves and the students vote on, that we will donate towards, to try and make sure that we're doing the most we can to help the college as well as the students that go there. All of the dates, updates on projects, initiatives, and any of the announcements will be available on our social media pages and our website. Hopefully the college and school life of schools across the UK. So we're going to take a brief break for a second while we allow for a couple more comments, and we will have our questions from the comments momentarily. Okay, we're back. So, the first question we have in the chat, um, what are some easy products that young people can sell whilst at college? That's really good. It can be difficult sometimes to think of specifically what people can sell at college. But the main thing to think about there is the young people part. You're focusing on the market specifically there. So while you're at college, it may be a little bit easier to understand. It may be easier to understand your market because you are part of your market already. If you have a specific interest or a specific need for something, tap into that. Like if you're often at college and you think, "Damn, I've left my headphones at home. Damn, I've left my phone charger at home." Those are the kind of things that people will want. Those are the kind of things that people will will create desirable products because those are the things that you want, and there are there's over 2,000 students at Long Road, and more than one of them is going to be in the exact same situation you are. Those are the kind of things that you can create. Those are the kind of things that you can market to people easily. Those are the things that you can do cheaply and efficiently while at college. So I hope that answers that one. What advice do you have for people who want to start selling but aren't confident with their skills? That's really good. Confidence is important when you're selling, but I want you to understand that there's there should be nothing holding you back from doing this. Student Shop specifically makes it really easy for you to do it while you're at college. Makes it really easy for you to do it anonymously. You'll have to tell Student Shop specifically who you are, just so we know you and so that we can pay you. But you don't have to tell anyone else if that is what's worrying you. Also, there's no upfront cost to doing it. It only costs if you start getting sales. And then again, it doesn't even cost. It comes straight out of the money that we receive from the buyer, so it doesn't actually come out as a cost. It's nothing you have to factor in. The money you make, the full profit amount, is what we will send to you. There are no other costs. There are nothing else like that. It is purely we take a commission for the product sold on our site, and the rest of the money goes directly to you. So don't be shy. Just do it. You've got nothing to lose, especially not money, because we won't take any of your money. Just do it. You will learn something. You will probably feel great about it at the end. I would just go ahead and start it. That's what I did, and now I have Student Shop here. Just go for it. The next one, at what point should people start using some of the profit to pay themselves after putting some back into the company? That's good, and it's not as clear cut a question as the last two. It really depends. If you get the feeling from the first batch of products that you made, say you're making 10 of those notebooks, that took up so much of your time, it was so time dependent, it was really taking time out of your life. And then you use profits to upgrade how quickly that takes. If you get to a point where you're giving more profit and you can't find anywhere else to put it, that is probably the time that you can start taking some for yourself. And even from the beginning, you can take some for yourself. Out of that £30, and that may not sound like a lot because of the number I've chosen, but from say the £30 profit you make off your 10 notebooks that you start with, if you put 20 of that back into the company and take 10 for yourself, that's okay, as long as you are using the majority of the profits to build the company and to improve your products, improve your production, improve the amount you're using, then you can take some for yourself. What you've got to understand in that situation is the more profits you take for yourself, the less profits there are for your company, the less profits there are to improve the business, and the slower it will be to grow. And it'll take longer for you to get the higher profits you can expect if you had invested all of your profits in the first place. That's the main gist of it. It will be a different point in time for every company and every product and every business depending on their circumstance, but it's ultimately when you can't really share your profits out anymore, or when you're making a big enough number that you can share out enough to all of the different places and that there's still some left over, then you can start taking some for yourself. Where can we find out more about Student Shop after the webinar? That's a great question. After this webinar, you can go to any of our social media pages. On our Instagram, I know we have a how-to on how to use the Student Shop website. There's also on the Student Shop website, if you've gone to the how-to and figured out how to use the website, on the website there's loads of information. We put all of our information up there. We'll be putting more and more on there. Over time, after this webinar, maybe a few months pass, we'll try and get as much content as we can onto the YouTube channel as possible. Trying to get tutorials, how to make your products, how to use the Student Shop system, how to manage profits from Student Shop. Deep dives into each of the topics we've talked about today, any new ideas that come up, how to create products that are good for the different awards that we offer, how to make the most of your startup packages, things like that. That information will be on the YouTube channel. We'll get it up there as quickly as we can. You just have to give us time on that one. But immediately, right away, the website and the social media pages are where you can look for that kind of content. All right. Well, we went a little bit over the hour I was looking to keep this in, but about an hour and 15. But I think that is a good place to end it for today. We'll make sure to do more of these in the future. And we'll try and a similar thing again. Can do some dedicated Q&As in the future as well. So make sure you're looking out for those. And thank you for coming. Feel free to watch this as many times as you need. It will always be on. It will always be on our YouTube channel. It will be under the live webinars playlist that we have on our channel. So thank you all for coming, and we hope to see you applying for Student Shop in the